Hello, everyone, and welcome to Faith in Focus, where I feature local churches and speak with church leaders. I'm your host, Kaylee Hanna, and today I am joined by Reverend Dr. Chad Johnson, who is the new senior pastor at Amarillo United Methodist Church. Dr. Johnson, thank you so much for joining me.
Yes, thank you for having me. This is wonderful. I'm excited.
Absolutely. So I want to kind of get to know your background a little bit since you are the new senior pastor at that church. So kind of tell me, how did you discover this path into becoming a reverend?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I always say I didn't start out wanting to be a pastor. I was a music major. I wanted to be a band director. And in there, I felt this deep calling to serve in the local church. And I thought, well, music will be the avenue. And as I went along, I remember I sat down with a mentor of mine and said, hey, tell me I'm crazy. Like, this is not what I'm thinking. And so I told him what I was feeling, and he said, no, I don't think you're crazy. I think you're called.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, man, not what I wanted to hear in that moment.
Yeah.
But I'm so thankful I did, and the journey has just been blessed since. So.
Absolutely. And kind of talk about your background with your education and what that journey was like for you.
Absolutely. So, like I said, I started as a music major. Music was my passion and love for years. It still is. But as I journeyed into vocational ministry, I got my undergrad at Texas Women's University and went on to seminary from there at Perkins School of Theology at SMU. And when in the United Methodist Church, that's all that's required is the Masters of Divinity. But I was not ready to be done. I felt like there's so much more, and I'm just getting into the groove of learning and higher academics and exploring my faith and everything. And so I went right directly into my doctor's of ministry work. And from there, completed that journey, and that came, my dissertation ended up being my first book, and I was so blessed by that, and so I'm so thankful. And then from there, I have yet to stop. So I went on to get a secondary master's in Native American leadership from Southwestern Oklahoma State University, and then I'm currently still enrolled. So I'm seeking another master's in clinical mental health counseling at OU. So
Oh, wow.
I'm still going.
A lot of education. I'm going to be honest, I stopped like right whenever I
don't blame
could,
you.
but I always like admire having that passion to continue learning. That's great.
Yeah, I'm addicted.
And, kind of talk about how you got into this new role. Like, who reached out, or did you find it yourself?
No, so in the United Methodist Church, we're in an appointment system, and so the bishop and cabinet look at all the churches and availabilities, and then they look at the pool of clergy, and they match us up based on our gifts and graces and where we think we're at in our ministry journey. And so I got a phone call one day from my current DS at the time, and she said, you're going to get another phone call from a different DS, and we're DS by district superintendent, and she said, we have an appointment for you. And I said,
Oh,
okay,
wow.
great. And so then my current district superintendent called, and he said, hey, I have an opportunity I think you will be great for. I think they're so ready for you. And he said, you're going to Amarillo United Methodist Church. And so here I am.
Absolutely. And where are you from originally?
Absolutely. So I was born and raised in Bridgeport, Texas, in the
Really?
North Texas area. Born and raised there, and so that was been home forever. And
Yeah.
there's a Methodist camp out there, and so just was raised in everything Methodist possible.
Absolutely. See, I was born in Decatur.
Oh my gosh!
So that's crazy.
Oh, that's awesome. So what people don't know is that means we're rivals.
Yeah.
Battle of the Big Sandy here. No, I guess they still do that, but yeah.
Yeah. So,
that's awesome.
yeah, absolutely. So, as you mentioned, not only is faith your passion, but you're also really into music. Can I talk about your musical background?
Absolutely. So at a young age, I was fascinated with music. I loved it, and I'm a self-taught pianist.
Oh, wow.
And started when I was very, very young. And when I became eligible, or the age of being able to be in band, I tested on all the instruments. And I remember the band director saying, okay, I think you'd be great at two things, percussion or clarinet. And my dad is a lifelong percussionist and has just played forever. And so I went home and I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm going to be in band. I'm going to play clarinet." And I think it was everything he could do not to just scream in that moment. And
Yeah.
my mother's just said, "Just relax. Let him do what he wants to do here."
Mm-hmm.
So I was getting braces. I went to the orthodontist and they said, the clarinet, you have
Yeah.
to firm your lips up, and if the braces are going to rub, it's going to be super uncomfortable. Why don't you do percussion? Because I had shared with the world.
Mm-hmm.
And, my heart was broken. I just thought, oh, this is the end of it. And it was the best thing. Not that clarinet wouldn't be great too.
Yeah.
But, so I am a percussionist by training, and that has, again, just been a passion of mine that I thought when I left the a music education degree that, oh my gosh, I'll never use music ever again in my life. And I have just found it so helpful in my ministry.
Absolutely. And now I kind of want to switch topics here and talk about Jacksboro 2022 and that devastating tornado. Kind of, what was that experience like, and what was the key role that you played in that?
Yeah, absolutely. I had just gotten to Jacksboro in December before the tornado hit, and so I was several months into this brand new congregation. They're getting to know me. I'm getting to know them, and this tornado blows through. And I tell people sometimes disasters and tragedies like that have the potential to be the greatest blessings, as hard as they are, and it was a blessing in so many different ways. So my role really, I remember within several hours after the tornado hit, I had phone calls from the mayor had called me, the city planner, the county judge had called me saying, "Hey, we are going to need help. We need to navigate this, and we know that our churches are going to be resources for us." And so before I ever had a moment really to kind of process what had happened, I mean, in the United Methodist Church, it's called UMCOR, UMCOR, and it's the United Methodist Corps of Relief. They had already reached out and said, "I'm going to be there tomorrow. We're sending people." And we sat down with the city leaders and UMCOR and talked through what the process could look like. And the city leaders just said, this is an answered prayer for us. We knew what we needed to do. We just didn't know the steps to get there. And UMCOR was able to provide that framework for them. And so it was crucial. And so just being the person in the field, really, I mean, people reaching out to the church. I think one thing that people don't realize are the long-term effects mentally and spiritually when something like that happens.
Absolutely.
And so we were able to be a hub for that. And so it was great. I got to, by the end of that experience, me and my church knew each other really well.
Yeah.
And the community.
A great bonding experience.
It was. And it got me into the community in really great ways. And so I hate that it happened, but I'm thankful for the opportunities that opened up through it.
Absolutely. And I feel like anytime there's natural disasters, really, the community leans on the churches.
Absolutely.
So kind of talk about how it feels to not only help people in prayer, but also be that resource for them.
One thing I love this question. One thing I have said in speaking about this to our conference and other faith leaders is you don't realize how much hope you give people. I think some of the most profound moments through that season in the ministry in Jacksboro was we had people who had their homes totally destroyed and their lives were torn apart, and they looked at that situation and thought, it's going to be easier and more financially feasible for me to just leave Jacksboro to build somewhere or buy somewhere else and start over entirely. And so they faced having to leave their home, their community, their people were there. And so for us to be a resource to come into their lives and say, no, you don't have to leave. We'll help you rebuild because this is your home, and we want that to stay the same. And so just seeing the life-giving power of that was awesome.
Absolutely. And kind of switching topics, you're a full citizen of the Chickasaw tribe of Oklahoma. I think that is really cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Kind of talk about your Native American roots and how they've impacted your role as a pastor.
Yeah, when I started into ministry, I never I never thought the two worlds could connect. I always thought, I'll be a pastor here and then a Chickasaw citizen here. Well, boy, was I wrong. And it's just been phenomenal. So I give all thanks to Ishki is the Chickasaw word for mother, my mother, who raised us to be so proud of who we are as Chickasaw people. And, I remember as a little one going up to Oklahoma and to our festivals and eating our meals and just ingrained in who we are as a people. And it was phenomenal. When I started my doctorate of ministry work, I had a professor who said, I think you're ready for this work. You've been writing about your native heritage and how that connects theologically for you. He said, I think you are so ready to explore this more. And so that's what prompted me to jump from the master's directly into my doctorate work. And I was blown away with how the two worlds connect so deeply.
Absolutely.
And I think there's a stigma about that, Native American spirituality and then there's Christian spirituality, and they don't connect, but they overlap in so many powerful ways. And that was really the premise of my book. Yeah. So the book's titled Finding God on the Indian Road, and it explores how these two worlds really intersect. So it's been powerful, and I use it in sermons. I pray in Chickasaw. I use our language, and every time I think people are going to think this is just dumb, but they don't. They're so appreciative, and it moves them in a different way to be closer to God that I'm always blown away by.
Absolutely. And kind of talking about your new role here, what are some hopes or goals that you may have being the new senior pastor?
Absolutely. So I think our big goal right now is to connect deeply with our community. Amarillo United Methodist Church has been doing this in powerful ways already before I got here. And so I think we're such at a place of let's take some next steps and engage more deeply. We are super excited about some community projects that we have coming up that I think are just going to be wonderful. We're working to engage more deeply with our WT kiddos and supporting the Buffs. I'm learning the language. Go Buffs.
I'm a Buff alumni.
There you go, right? So I'm learning. So we're excited to engage our college kids over there and AC over here. And we're just really to form some connections and some bonds with our community, especially our younger community, and let them know, hey, there's a church home and we want you to come and feel welcome.
Absolutely. And for those who may have never been to Amarillo United Methodist Church, what's kind of that process like? What's the feeling whenever you first step in?
Yes. I told AUMC when I first started, I said, you have something going so right for you. The moment you walk in the building, it's the sense of joy. And I said, my whole platform in ministry, and it has been for years, is let's just have fun. If we're having fun in ministry, people are going to want to come have fun with us. And I think that's so authentic and genuine, and I think people want that in the world right now. And so I think that we have that going for us. We have fun. We laugh. We hug. The moment you walk in, there's just a sense of joy. They're going to be, if anybody comes, they're going to be excited that you're there. And from the moment you walk in, we'll feed you. We've got donuts ready and, all the church things. But, but I think that's been our biggest thing is we're happy to be here and we're happy to be together and we're joyous and we just want to have fun.
Absolutely. And you actually started in the middle of July, right?
I did. So I did some preemptive work in July, and then July was my start date. And so I'm just getting going. And
gotcha.
It's been wonderful.
Absolutely. And how did it kind of feel, coming in July and just kind of like being like, oh, this is a new experience for me. What was kind of that experience like for you?
It was great. I mean, Amarillo had everything going for them. I have seen other churches who, sometimes that can be a little awkward starting in a new church for the church and the pastor, just kind of filling each other out and getting in the groove of, what we're going to do together. But one thing that I was told and then I experienced as I started to come and be a part of AUMC is they were and they are so ready to just do wonderful things. And so from the moment I got here, I felt nothing but excitement, and it was so easy to start with them because they were just so ready and excited for this next chapter in their church history. And so, again, not every pastor can say that. I'm a blessed man, but they've been great.
Absolutely. And how can people kind of get involved with the church, or where can they go for more information about y'all?
Yes. So I would say start with our website. So we're aumc.org. So go check us out. Our website is great. Our Facebook page, go check us out on Facebook. Like us. We're trying very hard to engage on social media, and so there's sermon clips up there. I'm a series preacher, and so the series that I'm preaching in, you can see graphics and details about that. Come check us out. We're located at 3001 Bell Street, which is St. Luke Presbyterian, and I want to give a shout out to them really quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because when AUMC started, we didn't have a building, and we were meeting in one of the retirement communities for a short time, and then St. Luke Pres reached out and said, hey, why don't y'all come? We're going to share office space. We'll share classroom space. Yeah. We'll share our sanctuary with you guys. And
that is amazing.
It's just the deepest act of love, and they have been amazing. So we're located at St. Luke Pres's church there, but we are so excited. So come check us out. And you asked about some ways to engage.
Yes.
Look for us in the community. Our big push for the rest of this year and into next year is going to be to engage and have a presence at some of our major community events. So you'll see our table. Come say hi, check us out, meet us. We're hoping to make all the big ones and just have a table and be present in our community. So we're excited.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on your new role, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. This has been great. Thank you.
Absolutely. And of course, thank y'all so much for watching this episode of Faith in Focus. If there's a local church you want to see and get to know more, or a religious leader that you want to be featured on the show, you can always email me, channa@kmr.com. And of course, we will see you next time.